Happy Friday, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I have the privilege of being the moderator to open up and close this event today. And did you know that this is our fifth annual pitch competition? Now, I just want to share with the team, first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. I'm Sarah Fuentes, the Vice Chair of Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability. I've been a volunteer of this organization for over 10 years. I call it a labor of love, ladies and gentlemen. So just know that I wouldn't be here today on a Friday with you fine folks if I wasn't fired up. So 5 years ago, we had the ambition to be the first ever all women's pitch competition in the sustainability and clean tech space. And I don't know about you, but we're going to continue to break records and to bring the opportunity for the ladies today that are going to be pitching, to give them a voice and a platform to introduce their business. And that to me is super exciting. Now, I also have the privilege to share the stage today with my two good friends, Annie and Anandi, who, I'm not going to steal their thunder at all. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But just know that you have an amazing docket today. Now, if we can go to the next slide. I want to get into a little bit of, the Zoom etiquette. Many of us have been in Zoom, so I just want to prepare everybody. Our chat tends to get really, really busy. Prepare yourself to share contacts, make it a goal to connect with multiple people today, to connect on LinkedIn and to set up follow-up appointments. Our ambition is to help you build your network. Please be respectful of everyone's time and their words and show up authentically. That's my goal, to always show up authentically in your true self. And please, whatever you take away, just let us have your thoughts, comments, and feedback. We want to refine ourselves in every way possible. So thank you again for being here. Let's go to the next slide. So today I have the privilege of announcing and thanking our presenting sponsor, Kula Addy at Momentum. And I'm going to pass the mic to her in a moment so she can have the opportunity to share a little bit about Momentum and herself. Kula?
Thanks, Sarah. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Yep. Well, good afternoon and good evening, women in clean tech and sustainability, and happy Funding Friday, wherever you are. My name is Kula Addy. I'm a product delivery manager at Momentum. And on behalf of our team of clean tech strategists, project managers, dedicated engineers, and finance experts, we wish you great luck today on your pitches. Momentum is a Sacramento-based clean tech consultancy that designs and deploys innovative funding campaigns to accelerate a world where clean energy, zero emission transportation, and decarbonized manufacturing are all a reality. To date, we've helped our clients secure over $6 billion in funding to move their innovations forward. I am particularly honored to be the voice of the presenting sponsor today because WCS is very special to me in that it's how I found Momentum. So I encourage you to continue to use WCS, stay engaged, stay pitching even after today, and please do stop by the Momentum website to see and learn more about what we do. We're actually currently looking for our next clean tech strategist, and we'd love to have you on our team. So I'll put the link in the chat along with my email, and we await your contact. Thanks all, and good luck again.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. This is one of the reasons why I've been volunteering for so long, is to help women find their dream job. And so, that type of connection is just fabulous to me. Now, I mentioned to you already about our pitch competition, but as I mentioned, the first pitch competition for women-led startups in the clean tech space. And we want to thank Momentum, Sea Change, and Joint Institute Strategic Energy Analysis for being our sponsors today. It's really critical for us to have this type of support to be able to host an event like this. And so we just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, and also for making it happen and being a part of our organization. For us, a company led by women, either as CEOs or C-suites over the past 5 years, having this type of energy and network and connection with startups is a phenomenal experience. And so today, I want to give a shout out to all of the pitchers. I'm not going to steal Anandi and Anna's thunder. I'm just going to highlight the names of the companies if we can go to the next slide. So first and foremost, I want to thank Tria Tech, Open Hydro, Light One, Aruna Revelation Health, Shade Club, Algreen, Marguerite, Friendlier, Accelerate Wind, Myco Futures, and Atran Energy. Now, you are going to hear from these amazing startup founders today pitching about their company. And so please take copious notes, and judges, they're going to be judging you copiously as well. So just note that, and then I get to have the opportunity to introduce our judges. Now, everyone on the call, okay, you get the opportunity to vote too, and I'll get into that in a moment after I have the privilege of introducing the judges. So I want to thank these 6 judges for taking their time out of their busy schedule on a Friday to be with us today. Julia from Phoenix Venture Partners, go ahead and raise your hand. Thank you for being here. Liz from Cleantech Council, thank you for being here, Liz. We appreciate you. Rama from Amazon, please raise your hand. We want to see you because I want everybody in the room to know who you are. It's really important that we know who you are. Okay. Gitanjali from Mac Bennett Co., Stephanie from Rimos, and Kristen from NREL. We want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule today, for being a judge. And, many of us may or may not like to be a judge. So we appreciate you being willing to, ask those critical questions and to give us those critical thoughts to our pitchers today. And so, as I mentioned, the people's choice, okay, we are going to drop in the chat a form for everyone to vote who their favorite pitch is. Okay, so it just got into the chat. Please open it up, take your notes, and pay attention during the pitch, because your voice and your opinion matters too to us. And so with that being said, we will make the announcement at the end, and we will get into some more details about the prize pool at the end of the show. So I'm going to hand it off to my good friend Anandi to kind of start the rest of the show. Thank you for having me today, and I look forward to hearing everyone pitch.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. A big, very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Ananda Yadav. Been with WCS for about 8 years now, and so excited to welcome all of you. Let's get this pitch competition started. All right, the next slide, please. So let's have our first pitcher up on stage. Please welcome Raquel Zambrano. She is the COO and co-founder at Tria Tech, a company working on an innovative technology to transform waste into methane-rich renewable gas, clean water, and minerals. Raquel loves spending her free time hiking, practicing yoga, and reading. Please welcome Raquel.
Hello, thank you very much for the introduction. Okay, so should I start? Sure. So hi, I'm COO and co-founder at Tria Tech, where we transform waste into valuable resources. Next. So at Tria Tech, we are addressing a dual problem that affects to many of today's industrial and municipal companies. So on the one hand, we have the problem of waste management, and on the other hand, the global problem of stable energy supply. More specifically, our customers are companies from the pharmaceutical, chemical, oil and gas, also agricultural or municipal sectors that are looking for sustainable ways to dispose their waste, but also they have a high demand for renewable energy, not only to decrease their carbon footprint, but also to improve their energy independence. Next. So at Tria Tech, we are tackling both problems with one solution. Our patented process will allow our customers to regain control over their energy supply and cost, since by installing our units at their site, they will be able to generate energy from the waste they produce, They will also achieve their sustainability goals and mitigate climate change, since they can substitute the fossil energy they are consuming by the renewable energy we produce. And they can valorize their waste faster, since compared to traditional solutions, we can transform waste into valuable resources in a matter of minutes, compared to, for example, weeks for anaerobic digestion. Next, please. So the technology behind is the catalytic hydrothermal gasification. This technology is a high-pressure, mild-temperature technology, which in 2 steps transform the waste into methane-rich renewable gas, CO2 that can be separated and used afterwards, clean water, and mineral-rich solids. Next, please. As I said, our customers are from a very wide range of sectors. In fact, we have validated our technology with more than 20 different feedstocks from the chemical, pharma, food and beverage, also agricultural and municipal sectors. Next, please. So here we have an example of the performance of the technology. In this case, treating a chemical effluent. This is an organic waste solvent that nowadays is incinerated. And what we can do is transform 100% of the carbon present in this waste into energy. So in this case, it's a 3 ton per hour unit that can produce up to 50 gigawatt hour of energy. And just for comparison, we only need 2 gigawatt hour to power our unit. So also in terms of cost, we have a very competitive technology. For this example, we are talking a production cost of about $30 to $40 per megawatt hour, compared to other traditional solutions that are all above $100 per megawatt hour. Next, please. So we have 2 facilities, lab-scale facility, 1 kilo per hour processing of waste, where we do feasibility studies and we validate all our waste streams from our customers, and a pilot scale unit installed at a research institute in the north of Switzerland that can process up to 100 kilo per hour. Next, please. So at Triatech, we have a proven track record of technological innovation and client validation. We have raised up until now almost $6 million in non-dilutive funding, and we are now closing our Series A to validate the technology in real environment next year. We have also 3 patents granted, LOI executed from 12 stakeholders, and we have successfully validated the waste streams of more than 10 clients. Next, please. So this is our team. Our team is formed by 10 motivated team members that share one common passion for sustainability. And together we have more than 50-year experience in entrepreneurship, process engineering, process validation, and catalyst research. Next, please. So if you have a waste that you don't want just to dispose, but you want to valorize it, to transform it into useful resources, because waste, it's a resource, it's not a waste anymore. Our technology can be the right solution for you. So don't hesitate to contact me. And of course, I'm open to answer all of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. Questions? Yes, Stephanie.
Yeah, can you give me a sense of what the market size for your application looks like?
Yes, so since we can treat almost any waste, liquid and also solid, it's a very big market. We are talking about the 800 billion market. And between between industrial waste and municipal waste combined together.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raquel. Gitanjali?
Thank you.
Sure. Hi, Raquel. Thank you so much for such a great presentation. I was curious about, given that you work with and can work with different kind of feedstocks and waste streams, is there any that you particularly try to prioritize in terms of for processing, and does that impact your the facility, for example, and its capability to, does it have to modulate based on the waste that it's getting? I'm just curious about that.
Yes, so we have, depending on the waste, we can go from a more complex unit to a simpler unit. For example, we started developing the technology with one of the most challenging wastes, which is sewage sludge, because as you may know, it's composed of a mixed soup of many things. It has minerals, organics. So this is the most challenging one, and it has several modules. So you need a module to separate the inorganics. You need another module then to gasify. This is the most challenging one. And then, of course, if we go to the extreme, we have the one that I showed in the presentation, which is a purely organic effluent, chemical effluent, that you don't even need the unit to separate the minerals. You can go directly to gasification, and it's much simpler. So yes, we tailor our units depending on the waste stream.
Thank you.
Liz?
Yes, that was a great presentation. I like the next step for gasification. My question is around the hardware. So clearly that's where your technology is. It's in the chemical processing. And are you selling these units? And if so, who are you selling them to? Do you have them low-hanging fruit to get out to the market quickly? I think what I heard is you mostly testing right now.
Yes,
So what's the
that's
plan
right.
for that? And then if you can tell us about price point or price range.
Yes, that's right. So we are at the moment, the next phase is to validate our units, our demo unit at the customer side. So we are not yet industrialized, let's say, but our business model is to plan for in the long term for a service. So we will provide a service to our customers so that we own the hardware and we provide a waste treatment and valorization service. However, we are quite flexible at the moment with the early adopter customers. So in the short term, if a customer want to own the unit, we can also sell a unit to them. But of course, what makes sense in the long term is to have recurrent revenue. So service model would be the preferred option. And for the prices,
in the service model, do you have to move the waste to one of your units, or are you putting the unit on the site?
No, we install the unit at the customer side because they are designed in a way that is easy to install them at the customer side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, Raquel. Sorry, we're at time. We're going to have to move on to our next pitch.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Yee. I'm the WCS board member and co-chair of the Entrepreneurship Committee. Professionally, I work at the Department of Energy's Water Power Technologies Office. So I'm very excited to announce this next speaker, a fellow woman in hydro. So Cristina Diaz is the co-founder and CEO of Open Hydro. Open Hydro works to decarbonize freshwater systems and accelerate climate action in water industries. Cristina loves practicing yoga and organizing food wine pairing sessions for friends and family. Sounds like I need to come to your house, Cristina. Without further ado, please welcome Cristina to the stage.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. As Anna introduced me, I'm Cristina, CEO and co-founder at Open Hydro, the leading platform to decarbonize freshwater systems. And we are bringing our deep expertise in hydropower to accurately account for emissions from water to all water users. Next. And essentially, what we're working on is to solve the big challenge of valuing water. There are more than 1 billion tons of emissions coming into the atmosphere every year from bodies of water, because when we flood an area for the creation of a reservoir, the decay of organic matter can release high amounts of CO2 and methane. Next. And this is posing, and until now, assessing emissions from water has been complex, slow, and expensive. And this has been posing significant challenges to businesses. Next. This has, for instance, in this first case, companies have been unable to raise green finance. Hydropower represents 70% of the renewable energy, but is only capturing 2.5% of the climate-aligned investment. And not just hydropower, any company that manage to withdraw manage reservoirs can be in big trouble to meet their net zero targets, because emissions from reservoirs can reach up to 200% of their operational emissions. And it's not just that, it's not just a hydropower or a water supply company, because we use water for every single activity. And as water demand is expected to increase 400% in the coming years, this is becoming a challenge, but also a great opportunity to businesses that use large amounts of water to reduce their indirect emissions from water. And so, as net zero targets are doubling each year, the pressure by press, investors, and customers are requesting a more transparent and accurate way of accounting emissions from water. Next. So to solve that, Open Hydro is creating the platform to automate water emissions. Our model using AI and machine learning is helpful to accurately account for emissions and track them over time at any given point. But we go even beyond that because our model is able to provide accurate action plans to reduce those emissions over time. Our business model is a software as a service where companies have a monthly fee and are able to access and in one click automate and calculate their emissions and monitor that over time. Next. We know we are not alone on this, but we come with really unique proposition. Our competitors, for the most part, are incumbent consultancies that often are slower and more costly solution. And in the more digital side, we have carbon accounting companies that do not have the expertise and the level of accuracy to provide accurate data on emissions from water. And so instead of seeing them as competitors, we can work on an API strategy and work through them. Next. And if someone can do this, this is the team. Dominic, our lead developer, has more than 10 years building software platforms. Maria, our CPO, is the foremost expert in accounting emissions from water, working closely with the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. And I bring more than 10 years of experience leading international teams and working with more than 150 companies in the water and energy sector. Next. And you can see how much we've achieved in just 1 year working on this. We have more than 56 customers engaged, 15 demos and negotiations currently on the way, 2 ongoing pilots with 2 of the biggest electric utilities in the world, and 1 contract with one of the biggest water supply company in the UK. Beyond that, Open Hydro is behind the first climate mitigation reporting guideline developed with top electric utilities and financiers, the CFD and the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, and with the support with amazing partners such as Carbon 13, UK government, Danish government, and technology advocates. Next. And so we're aiming to move fast, starting with hydropower, where our network is the strongest. And because reservoirs are often shared between hydropower and other users, this creates the perfect bridge to reach to wastewater and water supply companies. And so once we've targeted and achieved companies where water is part of their direct emissions, we'll be in the best position, next, to reach to companies that withdraw large amounts of water, where water is part of their indirect emissions, reaching to a sum of 700 million. Next. And you can see what this represents in numbers. 2024 and 2025, we're focusing in hydropower and water supply companies. 2026, we'll be ready to deploy our platform to high water consumption companies with that possibility to really scale up by 2027 and 2028, reaching to more than 10 million in revenue. Next. As you can see, we're not only aiming to move fast, but we want to go far. And for that, we are really looking forward for your support, expertise, and advice. This has been a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to connect. Thank you very much.
Ramya, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. This was really interesting. Christina, my question was, what makes this platform different than the competitors? It feels like there are elements of it in terms of consulting, but what are the inputs? What are the outputs? And a takeoff from that is, it looks like you have 56 customers right now. How are they different from the 7 you intend to have going into next year? Can you walk me through what that bridge is?
Yes, so when I meant the 56 customers are engaged and really interested in buying the platform. What we have at the moment, the real contracts is 2 pilots and 1 contract onboarding into the platform. So we feel that with these 3 contracts that we have right now, we are in good track to reach to the 7 customers. That's our target for this year. And in terms of what brings us so special, if we look at consultancies, what they offer is a one-off solution, so just looking at one reservoir at a time. What utilities and owners of water managers need is to be able to manage and assess the entire business unit. So what we provide is an automated and much more accurate solution with just 1 click. They're able to assess the entire portfolio and take a look against their climate and financial performance.
Got it. Thank you for that. A few more questions, but I'll open the floor to the others. I see a lot of hands going up.
Kristen?
Christina, fantastic presentation. Thank you so much. Can you talk a little bit about the data sets? Are you getting those directly from utilities, or where are you getting the data, and what exactly is it doing related to AI and ML?
So most of the data we are able to withdraw through, we use satellite data and we can combine that with the specific data from utilities, so we can improve that. In terms of how we're working on the model, we are combining that input data for the model with direct measurements on site to really improve our model. And that's how we are using our machine learning to really make it more accurate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more question. Julia, do you want to hop in?
Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I had the exact same question as Kristen, but I'll throw you another one. You said that you have about 1,000 utilities that could be potential customers. If you take an average hydropower site, what would be the dollar value to a customer beyond obviously the benefits of lower greenhouse gas emissions?
So the benefit for the company?
Yeah, from a revenue, from a dollar perspective.
So what? Yeah. Specifically for hydropower, this has a direct impact on the revenue from how much they're selling their energy. So, for example, companies that buy their energy and they want to be able to show that they are low carbon through a specific certificate, that energy is sold at a higher price. So they will be able to recognize that. Beyond that, being able to access green finance, most of these assets will need to be modernized in the next years, and being able to be recognized as low carbon and access green finance, that will become a really big deal for them.
Thank you. That's great.
All right,
Let's move on. Okay, we've got, next up is Roya Agigi. She's the CEO of Flight One, a Vancouver-based startup revolutionizing the dye industry by introducing the next generation of sustainable dyes generated from microorganisms in a circular system. In her spare time, Roya enjoys adventurous activities such as bungee jumping and skydiving. Oh my. Please welcome Roya.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. Can you imagine seeing the world in black and white? The colors of our world are beautiful. Next. But what if I told you this beauty was killing humans and the ecosystem? The negative impact of color and dye industry goes beyond what you can imagine. Next, just to name a few, this industry uses 800,000 tons of synthetic dyes annually, resulting in the release of 72 highly dangerous, irretrievable chemicals into our drinking water, constantly causing rare diseases, and is responsible for 20% of global water waste. So the obvious question is, why is the industry still engaging with these toxins? Next. Many major brands from industry standpoint have announced ambitious goals to reduce their negative footprint in the color industry, but they're struggling to find a solution that are truly sustainable, viable, and scalable without compromising the function, leaving the industry with a huge need and gap. Next. So what's the solution? At Light One, we introduced 100% sustainable dye grown from microorganisms in nature that can safely go back to nature. Next. In other words, we grow the future of color in a circular system customized to the need of each industry player in a plug-and-play solution in variety of colors that works in multitude of materials. How? Next. Through our proprietary patented technology, first we identify these beautiful organisms that naturally produce vibrant colors. Then we isolate the gene responsible for producing that color, and in process similar to brewing beer, we grow it at scale. You heard it right. We grow the future of color instead of relying on non-renewable resources such as PU. Next. Our business model is a B2B, and we have set strategic plans of hitting the market in 2 different phases, allowing us to generate revenue, 2.5 million revenue by 2025 and grow to capture 16 million revenue by 2027. Next, I'd like to emphasize that the global dye and pigment market is huge, and they're all pushing for sustainable alternatives. We have identified textile dye industry as our first target market, and we are set to achieve our beachhead market of $64 million, including early strategic adapters such as Nike, Puma, Adidas, that they already have an allocated budget to obtain sustainable innovations. Just to give you a reference, government regulations, mandates, consumer demands, bans of use and sale of products that contain certain chemicals in them makes it no longer an option for this industry to obtain sustainable innovation solutions, and we are happy to help, making it a perfect timing for us to get in. Next, Our competitive landscape is actually not saturated at all in the form of microbial sustainable dyes, and our technology puts LightFund in a very advantageous position, both from compatibility, being a plug-and-play solution to the need of each industry, and from color and fiber variety that we can offer. In addition to that, our platform biotech, allowing a customization of these dyes for the end user, makes us in a very advantageous position, puts us in a very advantageous position as well. Next, our founding team consists of myself and my co-founder Sarah, two biodesigners who push the boundaries of material science constantly. And together we have over 20 years of experience in innovating sustainable materials with the use of biology. We have led globally recognized science and material design projects. We have done a lot of sustainability consultancy, and working from inside the industry have given us invaluable insights on where the gaps exactly are and what to offer as a real working solution. In addition to that, we have a great team of advisors from various different sectors that are constantly mentoring us and pushing us for success, and we're just unstoppable. Next, although a young company, we have made a lot of accomplishments. Just to name a few, we are in 4 accelerator programs. We have secured 2 strong R&D and manufacturing partnerships. We received 4 non-dilutive grants. We have 2 running pilots currently, and we have got a strong interest from 3 major industry players wanting to use our dyes as soon as possible. 1 patent filed, 6 identified to file. Next. Currently, I think you skipped the slide. Currently, we are raising $750K, which will position us to gain our first round of revenue of 2.5 million. And there are some milestones that were supposed to be on screen right now that we are set to achieve. A lot of them have already started, puts us in a very great position ahead of our own milestones. We have identified like matching non-dilutive funds that are also going to boost our runway as well. And now next, I would like to invite you to join us in future-proofing our colorful world for next generations, because there's a reason we don't see the world in black and white. And I'm open to all your questions now.
Thank you, Roya. Questions? Go ahead, Gitanjali.
Thank you. Hi, Roya. Thank you so much for the great presentation. I was curious about what the sales cycle looks like with these industry players in terms of, I saw that you have to go through a pilot and then that moves into probably longer term commercial agreements, but just curious about what the timeline you expect and what are the milestones they hope to see during that period of the initial testing and so on.
For sure. So basically, our distribution model is 2 different ways. For like any other innovation material, we are going to approach the market in 2 different stages of approaching the brands that are willing to actually use this, they're very active in finding solution directly. And then the other side would be approaching the mills and factories that use the dyes to introduce us indirectly to the market. And that's how basically it happens all the time. So as a part of our strategic plan, we are going to build a consortium member early strategic adapters, and that's going to build a basically long-term relationship and client partnership with them down the line. And that's how we are going to start generating revenue even during the R&D phase, up to the point that we are ready to scale up and basically open distribution to all the channels. I think you had last part of the question that I forgot. Do you remember that?
Sorry, it's skipping my mind as well. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm going to mention it if I remember. I'm sorry.
Ramya?
Thank you for this presentation. This is really exciting. You're addressing a shadow problem head on, and I love that. My question to you was more around what is the readiness level of this product? Is there any IP associated with it? Where are you in this readiness cycle?
For sure. So actually, some exciting news. We are ahead of our own milestones. So we are achieved like the next level of scale up right now with a very strong partnership that we managed to secure with Zhixuan Center, which is a fermentation facility back in Nova Scotia. And we got to the next stage of 5-liter right now, which is super, super exciting as of this week. And from here onwards, by the beginning of 2024, we are going to be in 10,000 liter production, which will allow us to actually supply to the consortium members chart that we have built. In terms of where we are right now, like that's exactly, we're in 5-liter, we have the MVP, we have the 2 pilots that we are basically providing the pigments to, and they're testing it. That goes, I think, the last part of Gitanjali's question as well about what is needed. So basically, currently we have done internal testings. As a part of this runway, we have to do certified testings to get into the major industry players' contribution. And those are the labs certified testings that are a little bit pricey. That's why they're a part of this runway. In terms of yeah, you had last question about IP. So we have basically we're working with an IP strategist. We got grants from IAC that allow us to hire IP strategists. We have 1 provisional patent file on the manufacturing of one of our colors, and we have 6 different areas identified that we're going to file more patents on a lot of different sectors of upstreaming, downstreaming, and the platform itself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have time for one more. Kristen?
Sure, great presentation, and really appreciate all the fast information that you're providing. Great overview. How does this product compare to natural organic dyes that are out there? And what problem is this solving compared to those?
Yeah, amazing question. So basically the organic dyes, we are still organic too, but we want to differentiate ourselves by saying a microbial dye, because organic dyes are known as plant-based dyes, or dyes that are generated from minerals or plants or insects. The problem with that is that, number one, the colors are limited. Batch to batch of the production, the color stability is a little bit different. So they are not always the same color. They can vary like 1 or 2 shades, and the industry is very picky about that. But the biggest part of it is that they're not scalable, because they have to be grown, cropped up, like basically like plants to be able to generate it. Although the final pigment is sustainable, the production of those dyes are actually not at all sustainable, because they're, again, coming from non-renewable resources. Mineral ones are basically extremely environmentally exhausting, labor intensive because of the use of pesticides and such, and time consuming, making the industry to not be able to use them for a larger scope of their line productions. That's why they're often remaining in a very small capsule collection and such. But our product is completely scalable, so we can situate ourselves in a level to compete with the synthetic dyes in terms of scalability, performance, and function.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, Vera.
Thank you, guys. I'm more than happy to answer more questions. We can definitely get in touch.
Next.
All right, next up is Rashmi Prakash, the CEO and co-founder of Aruna Revolution Health, a company making menstrual pads that are better for the planet and the body. Rashmi loves birds, painting, and hiking, and teaches about sustainable engineering development at the University of British Columbia. Please welcome Rashmi to the stage.
Hi. So I was on my period one day and I felt frustrated as I threw yet another pad into the garbage. Why am I having to pick between my well-being and the well-being of the planet? Next slide. I looked into it and I found out that over 20 billion menstrual products and their packaging are being dumped in the landfill every single year, just in Canada and the US. And a pad that we merely use for 4 hours takes over 500 years to decompose into microplastics, polluting our earth and the water supply. Next slide. The materials in the pad aren't great either. Due to the trend towards more sustainable products, many companies are turning to greenwashing instead of responsibly changing their products. Many claim biodegradable, which is unregulated and simply just means that it can be broken down by microorganisms without the guarantee of an environmentally friendly output. Many plastics are biodegradable and turn into microplastics. Compostable, however, means that a product can turn into useful compost that can be used to regrow plants. Many materials such as cotton are produced through unethical and unsustainable practices, which really puts a question our value of these products. And also they're developed and with harsh and harmful chemicals such as PFAs that are known to cause cancer. Next slide, please. Lastly, how accessible are these products? Well, 21 million menstruators regularly have to decide between period products and groceries in the United States and Canada. And to my horror, 13 million menstruators resort to unhygienic practices, such as using leaves, paper, rags, socks, the list goes on. Without access to period products, there's an increase in infection rates, a decrease in participation in life, such as attending school, your career, as if the gender equity gap wasn't bad enough. Having access to period products is such a necessity. My co-founders and I have all seen and experienced these struggles ourselves, which is why we decided that it was time for a revolution. Next slide. Our company, Aruna, is revolutionizing the way we manage our menstrual health by creating compostable, affordable, and inclusive menstrual pads made out of local plant byproducts. Such as food and crop waste. So why this material, you might ask? Well, we saw an opportunity. Next slide, please. Right now, local food manufacturers and farmers need to spend a lot of money to dispose of their waste, which typically ends up in a landfill, releasing millions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So we suggested they stop doing that and instead pay us a lower amount of money to take away their waste and have a greater impact on the planet. We take their food and crop waste and put it into our patent pending process and technology to turn it into our compostable menstrual pads. Next slide, please. Aruna outperforms our competitors, not only by meeting the technical requirements for a pad, but by creating a fully compostable pad that's compostable both at home and industrially, that uses sustainable materials, is affordable, inclusive, and accessible. But also, our patent pending materials have demonstrated strong thermal regulation and antimicrobial properties. Next slide, please. There's a large market demand for pads. Of course, 50% of the world's population at some point menstruates. According to Allied Research, the global market was $38.9 billion and is expected to grow to $68.7 billion in just a decade. Next slide, please. We've made significant progress in the past 2 years, from talking to the FDA and Health Canada to learn about submission requirements, to actually extracting the fiber from the food waste and developing our novel technology, turning it into pads and testing it out. The biggest milestone was receiving about $700,000 in non-dilutive grants, which has allowed us to accomplish everything we've done so far. We've recently signed a 5-year lease for our pilot facility, which is really exciting and scary at the same time, and also intend to raise later this year. We also understand the value of our compostable nonwovens that we've created, and so we've got a pipeline of products in the future that we intend to release, such as compostable diapers for both children and adults, maternity products, and medical wear, all of which have serious amounts of waste ending up in the future in the landfill that we can mitigate. Next slide, please. We know this is a massive challenge that we've taken on, but with my experience in engineering, having developed multiple medical devices from concept to market, and my team's experience with menstrual health advocacy, entrepreneurship, and healthcare, we're setting ourselves up for success. Next slide, please. We've also got an incredible advisory team with a cumulative of over 100 years in the industry, which we're very grateful for. Next slide, please. Aruna has the potential to make a massive change for the better. With all of the forest fires and flooding happening just here in North America, we need that change more than ever. Our fully circular product can help both the people and the planet. Thank you for your time, and we hope you join our revolution.
Stephanie, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Very clear. Loved the presentation. You talked about accessibility. Can you help me understand how your product creates a better way to gain accessibility of these products?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the ways that we can do that is currently the reusable products at the moment are making an assumption that everyone has access to safe sanitation areas, so like wash stations and things like that, which they don't. So by creating this compostable, disposable pad, we're providing accessibility to the more rural communities. And the other aspects that we're looking at is accessibility in terms of I guess, gender. A lot of people are uncomfortable accessing menstrual products if they're not sort of considered a woman, I guess, and they don't feel comfortable accessing that. And I've seen lots of videos of people like painting over the box or like covering it while they're using it. And at the end of the day, this is a medical device. This is healthcare. So we want to make it accessible to every single person that menstruates. And accessibility also, we consider it in the form of financial accessibility too. So by using this feedstock that we're using, we're able to make our products cheaper and more affordable.
Julia.
Thanks, Rashmi. Great presentation. Can you talk a little bit about what has prevented other big brands to achieve this. I think that like super absorbent materials, other super absorbent polymers, other companies are trying to achieve that, and it's hard to make it biodegradable and compostable. So if you can talk a little bit more about the technologies there, and as well as how you're protecting the IP.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess one of the things that we have had the fortunate opportunity to do is spend some time exploring this field with sort of a newer perspective, as opposed to the perspective that we've seen from a lot of our advisors and other people that we've talked to, where they're like, oh, SAP is not bad, like this is the only option available. So we've kind of gone in with the idea and the stubbornness that we have to innovate it. And so that's one thing that we come in with this with. But the other thing is that we've explored options that are not typically usual, I guess. So we've brought in our perspectives from different fields. So from chemical engineering, from my biomedical engineering, from earth sciences. So we've brought them all in, and have kind of also looked to my parents and my family, who has experience sort of developing this type of material in India. And so I've been able to bring that experience into this to develop our patent pending SAP. I'm calling it SAP, but we're changing the name, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. Otherwise my lawyer is going to get mad at me.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have time for one question. Ramya?
This was great. Thank you for presenting this, Rashmi. A question I had was, how are your trials going? I know you had that chart about all of the different milestones you've achieved to date, but what's next? How are they going? What's coming up? What are some things to look forward to?
Yeah, good question. So we're in the process of getting our pilot facility set up so that we can create a larger scale amount of pads. And so with this larger scale, we're going to do even more intense testing, I guess, for lack of better words. But the testing is going to include working with gynecologists to get the gynecological approval. We're also going to be working with Eurofin to do the testing for any sort of volatile compounds that are currently present in current pads. We want to make sure that we're entirely avoiding that. We're also going to be continuing with the compostability testing. Our first round of compostability testing, I had a picture, I wish I put it in here, but basically you can kind of see sort of Natracare, for example, they claim that their pads are compostable, but when compared to our pads compost in 30 days, whereas theirs hadn't even broken down in 60 days. So yeah, we're doing all of these testing, and we're also going through sort of the FDA process to make sure that we're certified. And so those are really going to be the next big steps for us.
All right, thank you, Rashmi. Let's go to the next picture.
Okay, next we've got Fatima Rashid. She's the co-founder and CEO of Shady Club, a tech startup helping consumers uncover sustainable alternatives to the clothes they love. Fun fact about her is that Fatima started her career as an environmental scientist, detecting frog calls and scooping kangaroo droppings. Fun take. Please welcome Fatima.
Hi. So I'll get started. So hi, I'm Fatima. I'm the CEO of Shade, and we help sustainability seekers find fashion items that they like. Next slide, please. So now our startup is founded by fashion-loving millennials and Gen Z, and I'm included. Our generation makes up 40% of the consumer market, and common characteristics among us is that we spend 3/4 of our money shopping online. We're driven by our values and beliefs, and though we understand the environmental benefits of buying sustainable clothing, it just takes way too much time and energy to find the items that we want. And so that's in part because little effort has been made to help sustainable fashion retailers improve their product discovery process. Next slide, please. So there are two main channels for brands to get their products in front of shoppers. These are search engines like Google and marketplaces like Farfetch and ASOS. These channels work for big brands, but keep in mind that sustainable fashion brands have only really been emerging in the last few years. So they're small to medium-sized companies that don't have the money to compete in search engine keyword bids or have inventories that hold up against big brands on marketplaces. Next slide, please. So with sustainability rapidly growing in demand and current search engines and marketplaces being slow to respond, there is a unique opportunity to create a product discovery channel that transforms the sustainable shopping experience. And we call it Shade. And so with Shade, we use AI search technology to enable brands to put their products right in front of shoppers. And they benefit from high visibility and discoverability of their products, and they're only charged when a sale is made. Next slide, please. So Shade takes the form of a browser extension for shoppers to instantly find sustainable clothing using a single image. We can match the style of any fashion item found online with a similar alternative from a sustainable brand. And it has been months in the making, and after extensive user research, interviews, and testing, we launched the beta version of Shade on the Chrome store back in March. So our beta version can recommend over 70,000 sustainable products from 200 retailers, and we have roughly 400 monthly active users. And in parallel, we also received a £20,000 grant that really helped accelerate development. Next slide, please. So Shade's launch comes as sustainable fashion continues to grow in popularity. It's one of the fastest e-commerce segments, worth $150 billion today, and is projected to reach $200 billion in the next 2 years. We chose the US as our initial target market because that's where many of our users and customers are based. And after beta testing and speaking with our customers, we hope to generate revenue by charging a 10% commission fee on sales that are made through Shade, and we'll trial this revenue channel with several of our customers actually in the upcoming weeks. Next slide, please. So this is our team. We're a multidisciplinary team, software development team in sustainability, technology, and behavior. Our advisors are well known in the field of marketing technology and transition design, and we are backed by a fantastic accelerator here in the UK that supports climate positive startups. And together we're making sustainable shopping the new norm. Next slide, please. So with Shade already in the market, we're currently raising funds to maintain our competitive edge. It'll be used to hire additional engineers to further development, as we are currently integrating text AI search as well. And it'll also be used to operate and maintain existing technical infrastructure and hire initial sales personnel, and hopefully to pay us because we've been bootstrapping this far. So fingers crossed for that. Last slide, please. Okay, well, I'm at the end of my pitch, so thank you for listening.
Thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Gitanjali.
Hi, Fatima. Thank you so much for the presentation. As somebody who stopped buying from fast fashion brands a couple of years ago, this seems like a godsend tool in some ways. I was curious about, do you conduct any kind of like a KYC equivalent for the brands you onboard to sort of validate, the claims that they're making in terms of being a sustainable, brand, for example?
Yeah, sure. This is the question we get often, actually. The way that we work and how we identify the customers that we have, these brands, is based on public information. So there are already, a lot of fashion directories that rate brands around their sustainability ratings. For example, there's Good On You and Fashion Transparency Index. And what we do is we collate that data and we identify the brands based on that. I hope that answers your question.
We have time for one more. Liz?
Yeah, I was wondering why you chose a browser extension instead of a location on the web where you can market and send people to. I think getting people to download an extension is an uphill battle. Assuming that you considered a website as well and then wrote it off, can you share any of your insight into that?
Yeah, so the reason why we made a web extension, specifically a desktop one, is because what we found is that most people browse on their mobile, but they make the actual purchase on their desktop itself. And so what we were doing was we wanted to nudge consumers right at that moment before purchase. Right now, what we're also doing, which is where our development is going into, is we've created a web page which integrates text AI search. So basically a ChatGPT form of finding fashion, and that's a web page that is mobile friendly, predominantly mobile friendly first. And we hope that that will first drive people then to start there. And if they want to go to a desktop, then they can.
All right, thank you. Let's go on to the next.
All right, next up we have Zhixuan Wang, the founder of Algreen. Algreen provides the most sustainable solution to polyurethane, which is 8% of world's plastics. Zhixuan's hobbies are painting, swimming, and regimen. Please welcome Zhixuan to the wing, or to the stage.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much, Annie, for the introduction. I'm Zhixuan from Algreen. We provide the most sustainable solution to polyurethane. Next, please. Polyurethane represents 8% of world plastics. Next. It has a lot of applications, including polyurethane foam, sealants, film former, coating, and thermoplastics. Next, please. In Algreen, we invent fully bio-based polyurethane products. We have polyurethane foam, film former, film adhesive coating. Our polyurethane is fully bio-based, chemical-proof, carbon reduction, affordable, waterproof, recyclable, and durable. Next, please. So by comparison, only Algreen is able to deliver this fully bio-based formulation in an economically scalable and energy-saving process. Next, please. To go to the market, we deliver our marketing plan in 3 stages. So the first stage, we will focus on the sustainable fashion market with a market size of 177 billion. We are aiming to achieve our revenue of 50 million in 2028. We have customers from luxury fashion brands, high street brands. We are supporting our customers' fashion show in this August. We are also the H&M Global Change Award winner this year. And in the midterm, we will provide our polyurethane film former to the cosmetic industry. The global market size of film former was 1.6 billion, and we are focusing on the EU market, which is aiming to generate the revenue about 37 million due to the Green Deal in the EU. And we currently have our first paid customer in the cosmetic industry, which is a tier 1 brand. In the long term, we are going to expand our impact in different industry, like the automotive industry and also the medical industry. Next, please. So to go to the market, we build direct conversation with the brand, and also we deliver subcontracting manufacturer support from our manufacturer. And then we provide our polyurethane to the brand. To achieve this, we are currently raising our seed funding. Next, please. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. I did my PhD in chemical engineering. I have more than 10 years experience in biomass research and process simulation. And my co-founder, Roderick, he has more than 25 years experience in equity business marketing. And he is supporting our route to market business strategy. We have a strong R&D team. Most of them have a PhD degree in green chemistry. We have a strong advisory board. We have university professor, industry leader, and investor. Next, please. We launched Algreen in 2020, received support from world-leading organization, raised equity-free funding more than 1.5 million. And we filed a patent and delivered our patent strategy. We are in the process building our production line so we can scaling up our first product. And then we are also the H&M Global Change Award winner this year. In the future, we'll become the leading company in the green chemical world. Next, please. We are Algreen, which is natural with natural. Please feel free to visit us and connect with us. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Ramya, go ahead.
Because of can you talk to me a little bit around what are the inputs? It's a chemical process that you're patenting here. That's where your IP is. What are some of the inputs to this chemical process, and what are the outputs? Can you talk to me about the process and the tech behind creating these biodegradable alternates for polyurethanes?
Yes, so our polyurethane is bio-based. It is not, I didn't mention biodegradable. And for the polyurethane, we start from agricultural waste. And so there are a lot of agricultural waste. We're not only, let's say, limited to one type of agricultural waste. And then we start this kind of waste material and use our own process and generate the kind of polyurethane. And the final product, like polyurethane, we can turn the physical properties because the urethane group is naturally non-biodegradable. But for some of the customers, like the cosmetic brands, they want the biodegradation of this kind of polymer. So we will do the further treatment. But for some brands, like the fashion, one of our customers, they do the outerwear brand clothing, and they want their outerwear to be able to wear more than, let's say, 8 or 10 years. So for them, we will provide compositable material to them. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
That was helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Julia.
Yes, hi, Zhixuan. What makes you confident that you can scale? And I guess like a sub question to that is, do you need any specific, built for purpose CapEx? So can you use a typical equipment for typical chemical equipment? And is there a cost premium? And at what scale would you be at parity, or will you ever reach parity?
Yes, so when we start to deliver the innovation, we want to achieve the seamless industry integration because based on our understanding, like people will like new materials, especially the Green Deal in the EU, and people are driven to the sustainable materials. But it will be a really challenge for the manufacturer or producer to let them to change their whole production line. So what we do is we do this kind of process that is very similar using the current equipment and machine in the whole manufacturing process. And right now we are in the lab scale, but in the meantime, we are looking for the subcontracting manufacturer because as a startup, building a new chemical factory that will be very capital intensive. So we find the industry who already have the equipment and facilities to collaborate with. Yeah.
Thank you. We are at time, so let's hop to the next picture.
Hi. Margaret Pichaga, PhD, is the founder and CEO of Magic Inc., which was founded with a focus on the commercialization of organic materials and organic LEDs discovered by Margaret during her PhD dissertation in nanoscale science. A fun fact about Margaret is she used to be a professional ballet dancer and danced with Kiev Ballet in Ukraine and Charlotte Ballet in North Carolina. Please welcome Margaret.
Hello, everybody. Imagine a world without a light bulb. It would be pretty difficult, right? Well, that can happen due to rapidly declining resources and the fact that most electronic devices end up on landfills and are not recycled. Next. The current solution to this problem is to shift to organic lighting main diodes or OLEDs, which are already used in displays of consumer tech, automotive, and indoor lighting. But there are still problems with OLEDs. It is a multi-step process with over 20 steps. They still utilize rare earth and scarce elements and heavy metals. They still emit toxic blue light and are power intensive. Next. The desired solution by our customers would have to be something made from earth-abundant, locally available materials. It has to be cost-effective and recyclable or even biodegradable. Next. At Margic, we are able to address the above challenges with our patent-pending solutions, which enable 80% faster production of OLEDs, lowering CO2 emissions by 66% associated with production and usage of these devices, and can reduce power consumption associated with lighting by 23% as of to date, and we can only improve from here on. We have already demonstrated our technology in the areas of emergency lighting, packaging, and automotive markets. Here's the quick demonstration on the camera. Yeah, this is how simple this light is. It's very, very thin, paper thin. This already includes the battery and the light. So you can imagine how this can become useful in a variety of industries. Next. Lighting market is a huge, huge opportunity with over $1 trillion opportunity for OLEDs alone. And our piece of this pie would be about $10 billion targetable market. Next. We already have successfully launched on the market in the packaging customers industry. And we have letters of intent of purchase as well as letters of support from the customers in the electronics, consumer electronics areas, as well as automotive markets. Next. The OLED is a global industry, and it ranges from global sharks like Samsung and LG all the way down to smaller startups. And our strategy to set ourselves apart is by forming early stage partnerships, testing our products for product market fit early on through our customer relationships, as well as right now we're expanding a patent portfolio by filing 5 additional patents to have more comprehensive coverage for those. And recently we have formed a collaboration with Inuru, which is technically our competitor, but we're making friends along the way. Next. We are generating revenue already within the luxury items opportunity. Even though our ultimate largest opportunity would be within consumer electronics market, you may be aware it is one of the stiffest market to enter as a newbie. So we need to build up a pathway through vertical integration of a product on the market. So packaging industry turned out to be that first low-hanging fruit due to low volume as well as high price point for the products needed due to their demands on sustainability and lightweightness. Our recent pivot has been into the motorized vehicle space. We have already began delivering lighting units for electric motorcycles, and that will lead our pathway towards expansion in the automotive lighting industry, which is a huge opportunity. For our OLED lighting alone, it would be over $200 million opportunity. That's just for the rear lighting without the indoors, and then ultimately lead us to the consumer electronics market. Next. Our team is growing with over 90 years of experience, ranging from electronics industry all the way through packaging. My background is PhD in nanoscale science, and I'm an inventor of the core technology of the company. And we are bringing maturity to our company through our advisory team, which have technical background in electronics industry as well as VC market. And they are repeat entrepreneurs that know how to take company from laboratory bench all the way to acquisition. Next. We have been blessed to receive support through accelerators, government contracts, and early stage capital, as well as we formed relationships with Argonne National Laboratory and UNC Charlotte. Next. With a pre-seed funding that we received originally, we went from our R&D phase all the way through selling MVP. Right now, we're raising $1.5 million seed round to grow within our 19 customers in the pipeline. And we're looking for connections in electric vehicle markets. With that, thank you for your attention, and the future looks bright with Margic.
Thank you, Margaret. Kristen, go ahead.
Sure. Interesting presentation. Thank you so much. I understand the different markets that you're looking at. Can you talk about how this product compares, especially if you're looking at automotive? What would the lights be used for motorcycles, and how do they compare, especially considering different types of safety quality standards?
Yeah, so the reason why we're starting a motorcycle is the requirements for certification and other requirements aren't as challenges automotive industry. It's mainly an area and visibility requirements, which we already have been easily able to meet. Right now we are testing a motorcycle on the road with our lighting for addressing the key problems that are currently with lighting used is the cracking due to vibrations of the motorcycles, as well as the breakage and the disconnections of that light during the driving portion of the motorcycles, as well as the lower power consumption. We're trying to see how that converts into mileage. So that's why we need the more of these connections in electric vehicle space to see how we can get a little bit more juice per battery charge.
So to confirm, it would actually replace the braking lights. It wouldn't be a decoration light on a motorcycle. Is that correct?
Correct. So we right now
Thanks.
replaced turn signal and rear lighting.
Julia?
Hi, Margaret. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the technology actually is? And OLEDs are pretty complex. There's different layers to it. As you know, the organic materials, the electrodes, the backplane, etc. So where is your technology, where it is in that stack? And then as a result, are you going to be manufacturing all of it yourself or will you partner?
So our innovation is within the charge transport materials and the multifunctionality within that. So right now, the complexity of OLEDs is your electron transport is separate from electron injection, is separate from hole blocking. Our materials are engineered in such a way to combine these properties together. And we have already tested with manufacturers a 5-layer stack, and it was actually outperforming the standard that they were testing. So we already have confirmation that this can be done using our materials that we have invented to reduce the stack amount of layers, as well as replace for the earth abundant materials. But yeah, it's mainly on the charge transport. We're not dealing with emitters ourselves. We're just utilizing the commercially available options. As far as the manufacturing goes, we are right now doing all of the assembly for the sales in the packaging and motorcycling industry in-house through partnerships of making the OLEDs by somebody else. That will remain to be the case for a while because that equipment is quite expensive and that there are people that can do that at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for this pitch.
Thank you for your time.
Please.
All right, next we have Kaylee Dale, the co-founder and CEO of Friendlier, a high-growth venture on a mission to eliminate single-use packaging waste. Outside of work, Kaylee enjoys hot yoga, traveling, and spending time outside. Please welcome Kaylee to the stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kaylee Dill. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Friendlier, where we're on a mission to simplify the world's transition from single-use to reusable packaging. Next. Right now, brands are desperately looking for alternatives to single-use packaging. They're trying to find solutions, but honestly, there's just a really big gap in the market right now. Alternatives labeled as compostable and biodegradable often can't be processed in North America. And if they want to set up their own circular reuse or refill models, it can be really expensive for the cost of inventory and also really difficult to maintain the same level of convenience that their customers are used to. There's a reason that everybody has used single use up to this point. It's because it's cheap and easy. Next slide. So the food packaging market is where we're targeting right now. It's a $24 billion market in North America. And more specifically, we're starting with our beachhead market of institutional corporate food service applications like university campuses and corporate cafeterias. Ultimately, our goal is to be able to scale our solution to meet the demand of the entire single-use packaging market and be able to really pull away from this very large global market. Next slide. At Friendlier, we built a turnkey reusable packaging system to make it really easy for businesses to move away from single use. So businesses, food service businesses can order packaging from us the same way they would order single use packaging. They pay a flat fee per use. just like they normally would. And then we handle the rest to get the packaging collected back, washed and sanitized, and reused. We use a digital deposit system similar to a bottle return program where consumers who get the packaging are incentivized to return it through a deposit. But that deposit is provided to them directly through their phone. It's all digital. And that allows us to drive convenience and also create a network of businesses that are both using the packaging, but also drop-off locations. We track the packaging throughout the supply chain. So we also have a lot of data that we can provide the businesses that we work with around both their sustainability impact, but also interesting metrics around their consumer insights. Next slide. So the value we provide businesses is really a simple alternative to single-use packaging. They don't have teams dedicated to packaging. They just want an easy solution, and that's what we're providing. They can reach their sustainability targets and quantify their impact. We can also reduce cost in packaging and the waste removal because we're diverting waste streams. And then we're also providing additional business benefits that they wouldn't typically see with disposable packaging through increased foot traffic and frequency of return customers. Next slide. So our team is about 20 full-time and about 40 total. My co-founder and I are both chemical engineers by trade, focused on building and designing processes in manufacturing in many different industries. And that's really what we're treating this as, is a system that we are scaling up. We have a CFO with a lot of experience over 20 years scaling early stage startups. And then we also have a really strong team of board of directors and advisors that have focus in the food service industry. Next slide. Since launching early 2020, we've been scaling very quickly. We grew 500% in revenue last year, and we've diverted over about 700,000 containers now from landfill. We're working with the two largest contract food service companies in North America, the Compass Group and Aramark, and we're also piloting with groups like Loblaw companies in their Zares locations. We've raised just about 3 million Canadian to get to this point. Next slide. In terms of competition, most of our competition in terms of reuse startups are focused on the consumer, providing solutions and memberships that consumers can opt into in order to borrow reusable packaging from mostly restaurant applications. And so it's more onus on the consumer, really targeting that specific eco-focused consumer, and also confined to certain geographical regions. Next slide. At Friendlier, we're focused on scaling with high volume institutional food service applications. We convert 100% of their packaging away from single use. It's not an option for the consumer. And our goal is to leverage existing supply chain partners like distributors to reach density. Our next step is to partner with brands to build more custom reuse solutions and eventually work with manufacturers directly so that all packaging can go out in returnable packaging. Next slide. Friendlier because the planet isn't single use.
Thanks, Kaylee. Ramya, you want to go?
Sure. I love this. Thank you. This is great. Single use is just, it's great that you're coming up with something like this. A question for you, in terms of your, what does your packaging product portfolio include? How many different sizes? What are the types that you're targeting right now? And for the ones that you have in your portfolio, what are you seeing as the number of turns you can get from them once they're returned?
Yeah, so we started with takeout containers, like meal containers, like you can see on this slide here. We have about 10 different SKUs of that product. We've started with 3 and we've grown based on our customers' demand. And then we also have cups, so beer cold cups and also hot coffee type cups. And typically what our products have been tested for is up to 100 reuses. They basically stopped the testing after that. Nothing went wrong. But what we see is that reuse systems are generally more limited by the return rate rather than the actual durability of the product. Some of the best reuse systems, like the beer store model we have here in Ontario, report up to 95% return rates, which is about 20 uses in real life usage for the product. So that's what we look at.
And what happens if they're not reusable? Say they come with cracks or breaks in them that you can't put them back into use?
Currently, we have recycling partners for each of our facilities that take the product, and it's a clean, pure stream of food-grade polypropylene. So they like it and can do more with it than other types of plastic waste streams. Our goal, though, is to be able to eventually send it directly back to the manufacturer so they can be, made into themselves again.
Thank you.
Ethan, Charlie.
Perfect. Thanks, Kaylee. That was pretty great. My question is on kind of the unit economics, because there's an element of Friendlier having to collect the single-use plastics that have gone out to the customer. So how do you price these to make sure it's profitable for you guys to, continue the cycle? And I'll pause there.
Okay, yes. So we charge a flat fee per use to our customers, which is how they typically pay for packaging. And we also charge the deposit. So the deposit covers us in the case where we lose the product. If the consumer keeps it, then we're still, we have about 40% margins in that scenario if we did lose it. And then if we get the product back and we return the deposit, what we're left with is that flat fee per use. And we have about 45% margins right now. We're targeting 70% by the end of the year. And that's based on a lot of operational improvements, driving efficiencies, because we did grow so quickly. Now there's a lot that we can go back and improve in terms of efficiencies there.
Thank you.
Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm curious, how do you educate the consumer that while this looks like single use, it's not single use? So what is the education kind of marketing campaign so that we know how to use the product properly?
Good question. So all of our products are bright blue. So that's one piece of it, is that they see the bin that looks the same, and it helps drive that understanding. But we really work with our partners, our clients, to do that. So we provide them with educational materials for them to tell their audience, because they already have those consumers within their audience. And a lot of our target right now is those applications where there's regular customers. So like university campuses and corporate office buildings where it's the same users all the time. And that's, the easiest way to start to get that consumer adoption and drive that messaging in is for those consumers that are coming back more often. It's not like a one-off purchase.
Great, thank you. Let's go to the next picture.
Next up, we've got Erika Boeing. She's the founder and CEO of Accelerate Wind, a company that is developing an affordable wind turbine that takes advantage of increases in wind speeds at the edges of commercial building roofs. When not working, she can often be found playing violin or working in community building in Birmingham. Please welcome Erika.
Hey everybody, I am Erika Boeing, founder and CEO of Accelerate Wind, and we're developing affordable wind turbines for commercial buildings. Next slide. So the renewable energy revolution is here. Consumers are demanding it, CEOs are signing up for aggressive climate goals that they don't know how to meet, and buildings are a huge part of this problem, with 38% of the global GHG emissions. Next slide. As a result, the solar market on the rooftop space is thriving, but solar alone typically isn't enough to meet a commercial building's overall energy demand. At Accelerate Wind, we've found that wind has an untapped potential to add on an average of 25% additional energy generation on top of solar. Next slide. But the reason that this hasn't happened is that rooftop wind today just isn't affordable. Most rooftop wind turbines don't even pay themselves back within their lifetime. And as you can see here, that's a mix of hardware costs and soft costs, things like customer acquisition, installation, permitting. And so over the past 6 years, Accelerate Wind has worked diligently to come up with a solution that can let us build a wind turbine that will reduce both of these costs and help us pay back the cost of the turbine with the same payback time as solar. Next slide. So the first thing that we've done is we've designed our system so that it can be installed alongside solar by solar installers using tools and people that they'll already have on site at a solar installation job. This lets us leverage solar installers' decades worth of experience reducing costs in things like customer acquisition, installation, and permitting. And it's something that they're really excited about because it creates a new revenue stream for them where they can increase their average deal size by at least 25% and still sell their solar panels. And there's a huge opportunity. There's about 2,500 miles of unused roof edge space alongside solar installs today. Next slide. The way that we make that possible is through our patent pending technology that lets us take advantage of the fact that wind naturally increases as it goes over the edges of commercial buildings. We've patented a range of spoiler shapes that we've found will work to draw that faster wind down to the edge of the roof so that we can capture energy right on the edge, produce about 3 times more power than competing systems of similar size, and then still leave space for solar on the rest of the roof. Next slide. And it looks pretty awesome. So this is what the technology would look like on top of our office building in particular. And we've gotten really good feedback through a lot of our customer discovery and human factors on the aesthetics. People are really excited about the way this looks and adds to a building. Next slide. We've got a great team behind the technology. So I started Accelerate Wind while I was in the middle of a Fulbright scholarship in the Netherlands, trying to figure out how I could use my engineering talents to affect sustainability. We have team members who've previously founded wave energy startups and a bunch of technical experts that we've partnered with at National Renewable Energy Lab, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Argonne National Lab to really de-risk our technology and help us move the technology forward. Next slide. In terms of competition, there's 3 main categories of competitors. So I've already mentioned solar a bunch and how we've designed our system to be complementary rather than competitive to solar. Then there's also a number of rooftop wind turbines, and because of our patent pending technology, we're able to produce 3 times more power than those solutions, which also results in significantly lower cost. And then there's ground mounted small wind turbines who could be complementary, but are also so often plagued by high costs of large poles that they need to install and high installation costs. Next slide. And by adding onto solar, this creates a huge market that is an add-on market to something that already exists. In the US, that's a $2.6 billion US market. And if we were to install in all buildings in the US, it's a $38 billion market. Next slide. We've been developing the tech over the past 6 years and have really been able to de-risk and get ready for the paid pilot phase, which we're entering now. We've developed it with about $3 million in non-dilutive funding, mostly from National Science Foundation and the Department of Energy. And most recently, we've raised about $1 million in dilutive funding to take our technology that we've proven out and de-risked and move to the paid pilot phase. Over the next couple of years, we will be installing these pilots and then certifying our turbine as we prepare for scale up. And this is really the right time as buildings are feeling more pressured than ever to decarbonize. We're really excited to be a part of the solution. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Erika. Questions? Go ahead, Rashmi.
Thank you. This is exciting. I've always looked at rooftop wind generators, and it's exciting to see something that is coming down to parity with solar and pushing the envelope there. Super exciting. In terms of the balance of plant, I know you said installing the solar installers can do this, but in terms of the balance of plant that's needed, equipment that's needed, be it inverters, be it anything else that you need to connect this power back to your main power lines in your building, how are you approaching that? Is there additional equipment that's needed for that? Or does this, when you say it's complementary, tie into the equipment that solar installers are already installing?
Yeah, so when you talk about inverters and a lot of those, we've used as much of that as possible. So we will actually be using solar inverters and all of our electrical components are things that are already made at scale. So that also helps with the cost equation. So we'll have separate inverters from the solar just because they need to be on different control systems, but it will be the components that have kind of already been proven out, are UL listed, and that helps with a lot of de-risking.
So just to clarify, it is separate equipment. It's not existing equipment that would come with the solar installation, but at the end of the day, you can aggregate all of the power from solar and from the wind together.
Yes, and we'd be ordering the same inverters that solar is using, but plugging them into our wind turbines.
Thank you.
Great presentation. I love this picture. I'd be curious if you could talk a little bit about the risks to deployment. So some of the things I'm thinking about are just safety. Everyone's concerned about the birds, and then also buildings, any type of policy and regulation, and being able to implement this at a city level.
Sure. Yeah, birds, we get that question a lot. One of the really nice things about small wind turbines is that they aren't spinning fast enough to really kill birds, at least any more than buildings will. Like you might get the occasional bird that runs into it, but not nearly the same problem as you'll deal with larger wind turbines. Actually, I think the Audubon Society came out with a paper recommending small wind turbines because it was less detrimental. And then safety, we've been very, very intentional about. So I mentioned a little bit of certification process. There's a small wind certification council standard that is about safety and power production. And we've actually been working with National Renewable Energy Lab to get our turbine ready for that certification process for the last, since day one. And so making sure to design it very, very robust. Was there another deployment question?
Yeah, regulations and policies. I'd be curious about how easy it is to go into a city and start selling this, or if they have to go through permitting processes and things like that.
Yeah, it certainly depends on the city. The nice thing about the types of buildings that we are designing for is it's a lot of warehouses, factories, retail buildings, and anything that's zoned for commercial has a lot less regulations than if you were to try to go in a residential area. So starting in warehouses and places that have lower permitting requirements, Texas is probably one of our early markets, and then once it's proven out, it'll be easier after that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next page.
All right, next up is Stephanie Lip, the co-founder and CEO of MycoFutures, a company cultivating the future of circular materials using mycelium, the root system of fungi. Before diving into the world of fungi and biotech, Stephanie was a graphic designer and fashion photographer and still enjoys creative pursuits like jewelry making. Please welcome Stephanie to the stage.
Hi everyone. Okay, great. I'm Stephanie, the CEO of MycoFutures. We are cultivating a future where the things we wear are made by nature, not destroying it. And we're doing this with fungi. Next. We all love leather, but have become increasingly aware of how unsustainable it is. From deforestation for cattle rearing to the toxic chemicals used in the tanning process and the long time it spends in a landfill. We also know that plastic synthetics are worse because plastics are forever. Despite this, we still want to buy new things. It's just that we expect them to be better for the environment. Big brands are hearing this and have started to make products with new sustainable materials. Fashion industry leaders like Stella McCartney, Balenciaga, and Lululemon launched mushroom leather products just last year, but not all of them are as sustainable as we think they are. The supply of truly sustainable materials is not meeting the demand, and they are not accessible to all brands yet. So many are missing out on this opportunity. Next. The solution is a material that is animal-free, plastic-free, and non-toxic, grown in a circular and scalable way. Next. And we are creating one. MycoFutures is developing a durable and luxurious textile for the fashion industry and beyond using mycelium, the root system of fungi. Our mission is to create a product that has a look and feel of leather, but without the environmental impact. And we chose mycelium because it compares with leather on the microscopic level, growing naturally complex and intertwined, most closely resembling leather's cross-linking structure. With synthetics, no elements are interconnected. Next. This is a completely circular solution. We start with fungi strains that are selected for the growth characteristics, and we cultivate the mycelium, or their root system, in a proprietary nutrient blend mixed with diverted waste feedstocks in a controlled environment. This is where we use vertical farming that allows for scalable and efficient systems. The mycelium is harvested, then processed into the material, hopefully having a long life before finally being discarded and composted, breaking down only as it is exposed to ideal conditions. Next. We do have a small number of direct competitors making mycelium-based materials, and a larger number of indirect competitors who use plant-based feedstocks as the basis for their textile. But we will always win because our material is a grown biomass rather than being pulped and bound together. We don't use a scaffold or backing, and we will never use plastics. With a healthy competitive landscape, bio-based leathers make up a $650 million market value, with that number projected to surpass $1 billion by 2030. So we have a massive opportunity to be a leader in this market. Next. We have traction with our customers. We have signed our first 5 LOIs and are speaking with big luxury brands. Our early adopters have been wanting to buy mycelium-based materials, some of them for years, and are dedicated to incorporating this material into their product lines for the long term. This is why we chose the fashion industry as our market entry. It has the lowest barriers to adoption and a huge number of potential customers. Additionally, smaller brands are agile. We can work with them in a rapid feedback and iteration loop as they are not limited by the rigid buying and production schedules of larger brands, and their orders will be fulfilled with our initial small-scale production. On the product side, we have iterated our prototype several times and are currently growing a 10 square meter batch of material, which is our biggest yet. We are optimizing our process and have a pilot project underway with an international malting company to utilize their waste feedstocks in our process. Next. I have a background in the fashion industry as a photographer, and I've used my skills in graphic design and digital marketing to launch my own small businesses and help many others. So I lead our business development. Next. My co-founder, Leo, was the head of our gourmet mushroom farm, and it was there that he discovered he was growing a strain of fungi with incredibly strong mycelium, which is what we now use for our material. He found this out when a mushroom block he thought was a complete failure ended up breaking our lawnmower when he attempted to spread it on our lawn. And within 3 months of that day, he created our first postage stamp size prototype. We are also supported by an international ecosystem of accelerators and expert advisors, and work with Canadian facilities, research facilities, and colleges that support our product development, materials testing, and characterization. This is also adding to our IP position with our trade secrets and future patents. Next. We are raising our pre-seed round of 750,000 Canadian dollars to be used to develop our team and bring on the experts that will accelerate our progress. We will also expand from a lab scale to a room scale facility so we can improve the quantity and quality of samples that we produce for our early adopters. We'll also be able to expand our customer pipeline and collect further LOIs and purchase orders while testing our material in lab-based settings so we can compare those to the existing standards. This 18-month runway will take us to the point of commercialization, producing and delivering our first orders. Next. We are a gritty and resilient team with a game-changing material backed by a great ecosystem network. Please join us and become part of the future of sustainable fashion. Thank you.
Julia.
Thanks, Stephanie. This is really exciting. Where do you sit in the supply chain? A lot of the luxury brands are very vertically integrated. They have their own tanneries and don't necessarily want to get rid of it because those are expensive facilities. So do you come in at the tanning, at the dyeing, at the finishing step for some of your customers?
Yes, right now we're positioning to be a B2B supplier of the raw materials. But for example, one of the larger luxury brands we're in very early talks with wants to send our raw material to their tannering research partner. So we're very open to collaborations like that with the larger brands who do have existing manufacturing and supply chain considerations so that we can integrate as seamlessly as possible, frictionless, in what they've already have established for their own brands.
Thanks.
Other questions? Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the scalability of the material that you're using. You know, how maybe just walk me through the growth cycle and access, and how you see this as a future option.
course. We're really excited about the potential for the scalability because vertical farming means that we can grow unlimitedly, but also incrementally. So our CapEx doesn't have to be huge at the beginning. We can spend what we need to match the quantity of orders that we have and for the next projected area. But as we have more orders, we can add more stacks. And to double our production, we don't have to double our infrastructure. So it's really capital efficient that way. So for every square foot that we have, growing vertically allows us to have a large amount of output. And for the actual inputs to make it scalability, working on this malting project, we say that as long as the world keeps on drinking beer and whiskey, we won't run out of our substrate. And so that's a really low cost input. The other nutrients, they're not without a cost, but they're low cost enough that we project margins of 60% when we're going full steam ahead.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. Let's go to our final pitcher.
All right, last up, we've got Natasha Kostenuk. She's the CEO of Ayrton Energy, developing next generation hydrogen storage solutions. In her spare time, she also runs a nonprofit she created called Calgary Apraxia that runs summer camps for kids with special needs. Please welcome Natasha.
Hi. Yeah, so I am the co-founder and CEO of Ayrton Energy, and we're developing next generation hydrogen storage. As a clean, versatile, and abundant energy source, hydrogen has the potential to revolutionize the way we power our world, from transportation to electricity generation and more. Today, the conventional methods of hydrogen transportation are high pressure, typically 300 to 700 bar, or cryogenically liquefied at minus 240 degrees Celsius. These conventional methods struggle with energy efficiencies and hydrogen losses, as well as infrastructure compatibility issues, leaving hydrogen a challenge to transport. Next, please. Ayrton has developed proprietary technology that stores hydrogen in a liquid that can be handled and transported no differently than gasoline. This enables hydrogen to be used as a fuel for auxiliary power generation systems that can be scaled from kilowatt to megawatt size to support energy demands above grid capacity or for backup power generation. Ayrton's technology also enables safe and efficient hydrogen storage that can be transported using existing infrastructures, including tanks, trucks, and pipelines. Next, please. Our system works by adding a hydrogen to our carrier fluid at a hydrogen production site. It is then transported by truck, container, or pipeline to the site of a hydrogen generator. There, the hydrogen is removed from the carrier fluid in a low temperature chemical reactor that is paired with a fuel cell to create energy on demand. The carrier fluid can then be used for rehydrogenation over and over. Next, please. Our hydrogen carrier fluid can store 7 times more energy than a lithium battery, and the hydrogen is stored at room temperature and pressure, but with a smaller footprint than compressed. And the process for storing and releasing the hydrogen is highly efficient. Next, please. Our biggest advantage of our technology is the low energy demand of the hydrogen storage process, and this is based partially on the lower temperatures required. Other hydrogen carrier fluids require temperatures of 200 to 400 degrees Celsius, while our system operates at less than 80 degrees Celsius. Ayrton's hydrogen storage system has a competitive hydrogen storage capacity. While lower than ammonia, it is similar or higher than compressed and cryogenic hydrogen and other LOHC competitors. Next, please. Our target markets at this stage include stationary on-demand power applications, including peak shaving and helping commercial sites reduce demand charges and expand their electrical capacity. We're also looking at generator owners that have restrictions on how often they can run or who are in areas facing emission fuel bans in the near future. And long-term, we want to scale our technology to provide large-scale power generation for areas such as data centers and remote work sites. Next, please. Other target markets for us include improving hydrogen logistics for others in the hydrogen value chain. These include on-site hydrogen storage for hydrogen producers or industrial sites utilizing hydrogen as a low-carbon fuel. We are also discussing hydrogen logistics at fueling stations for hydrogen transportation. In fact, we are looking to help existing truck fueling stations reuse their diesel tanks and infrastructure as they transition to hydrogen. Next, please. Our team is strong. I have over 20 years of experience in the energy service industry, And my co-founder and CTO, Brandy, has a PhD in chemistry, specifically in fuel cells. And we are supported by teammates and advisors that have strong technical and corporate experience. Next, please. After founding the company in 2021, we worked in 2022 to complete our initial design and to establish our IP position. In 2023, we've been focused on developing our prototypes, and earlier this year, we successfully completed our seed raise and have over $1 million in grant funding to date. In 2024, we will be piloting our technology with a local gas utility company while working on scaling our tech system to larger sizes. In 2025, we plan to pilot a larger scale of our technology and on early discussions with both an international utility company and a local gas utility to expand our pilot. Next, please. We are de-risking our tech development and increasing our speed to market by working with partners and supporters in the ecosystem. In addition to the pilot we have planned in Q1, we are having many Fortune 500 companies reach out to us to learn about our technology we are developing, and we are in early discussions with some of them for pilots. These include utility companies, data centers, indigenous communities, hydrogen producers, and more. And we continue to look for opportunities for future pilots and tech demonstrations. Next, please. Together, we're building the future of hydrogen. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to answering all your questions.
Thank you, Natasha. Questions? Go ahead, Aruna.
Thank you. This is exciting. There's a lot of buzz in the logistics and the transportation and just on-site generation with hydrogen. So very timely, and had fun listening to you talk about this. I want to focus on some of the siting and the hubs, sites that you need to be able to generate hydrogen. How many hubs do you have right now that is producing this? And more broadly, how do you select those sites to produce hydrogen? My thinking there is there a world where this could be sited at a facility behind the meter where it's being utilized, or does this have to be a standalone site somewhere and then get trucked out to where it's being used? And what are the requirements around it?
Yeah, so we don't produce hydrogen. To be very clear, we just store the hydrogen in our carrier fluid that allows the logistics, making it easy for people. And we could be incorporated into any site that's building hydrogen right now. So anywhere that hydrogen is being produced, we can fit alongside it. Our footprint is very small compared to a footprint of a hydrogen production site, and very small compared to a fuel cell or other hydrogen use, like a boiler, for example. And so we can fit right into those kind of use cases. For example, we've been discussing with data centers about using our system to replace their diesel generators. And they already have diesel tanks and diesel manifolds and all the diesel equipment. They would just swap it out for our fluid and swap out their diesel generator for a fuel cell, and we would slip right into their operations, making it as easy as possible.
So just to clarify, then you're the logistics provider for hydrogen that has been produced at a site. So it's all the shipping and the movement of the fuel is what you're looking at.
Yes, and we're currently half the cost of compressed or liquefied hydrogen by truck when you truck it. Because our systems require no specialized equipment and the low capex and opex of our systems.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I don't believe your presentation said you were actually doing the transport.
Yeah, most likely we'll be partnering with people for actual trucking. Our system, the technology that we've developed is the storage of the hydrogen in our carrier fluids, so that makes it easy to transport. And so there's already a whole ecosystem of trucks that transport things.
The cells where the containers, if you will, of the hydrogen, are you manufacturing those as well?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They're specialized reactors. Yeah.
Great.
All right, I think we're done.
Okay, thank you.
Anna?
All right. So after listening to these inspirational startups today, I'm super excited to remind everybody to make sure that you get your vote. If you're not a judge, so the judges are going to go into a room, they're going to get called away. And if you're not already gone, you'll be gone in a moment. And in this time, if I can just encourage everybody to go ahead and look in the chat for your favorite pitch. There's a form in there. We want everybody's opinion. I'm going to cast my vote as well.
Oops, Sarah, you muted.
If you could scan the QR code or check the chat for the link to go ahead and cast your vote. We'll leave this up there for a second, but please check the chat because we're going to go to the next slide. So your voice matters. I'm super excited for all these ladies that did an amazing job. Thank you again. You just totally inspired me. And every time we have this event, it's such an inspirational event. So if you are not already a member and you want more of this and you want more of this type of events and to have these types of connections and to be a part of our network, I do want to say, hey, let's become a member, be a friend of ours and connect. We also have a referral. So if you're a friend of a friend and you were referred today, just note that, hey, you get a discount as well for being referred by maybe a current member. So I want to go into in the closing, just because I know we got about 9 minutes left till the end of the show today. I want to talk a little bit about our entrepreneurship circle. We're launching into our second cohort. And you could see here that the cohort is kicking off this month. And so if you want to participate, you're an entrepreneur and you want to participate in this entrepreneurship circle, please make sure that you sign up. Once again, you can scan this QR code and you get to have the opportunity to learn and connect with other industry leaders and share and learn and connect with other entrepreneurs about, what they're going through. And there's actionable advice that we can, implement into your startup and seek out advice from other entrepreneurs. And the fact that we have such a small cohort, it's very personable. And so once again, if you want to be able to participate in this entrepreneurship circle second cohort, please make sure that you scan this QR code. Next slide. So I've seen a lot of comments in the chat and also in LinkedIn about in-person events and getting to know us. And so we have a lot of in-person events coming up. We're planning. Also, we have some events internationally with our Europe chapter. So if you know anybody in the European area, please send them our newsletter and share with them about our organization. One of my good friends, Caroline Trowbridge, is the chapter lead out there. And so we also are having a SF committee building event. I'm looking for leaders that are in the San Francisco Bay Area as well as in the Los Angeles area. And when I say leaders, I'm looking for individual that really wants to contribute to the growth of these chapters. Right now, I've been commuting both to LA and San Francisco. So once again, I'm looking for you. So if that's you, go ahead and come to this event June 17th, and I'll have the opportunity to connect with you, and you can learn about some of the opportunities that we're looking to fill for the chapter and in San Francisco. Next slide. So I was inspired by your favorite trash man, Terrell. If you don't know him, you can find him on Instagram. And those of you that don't know, I have a podcast called Trash Magic. And one of the things at WCS is that we want to take action. And so we were inspired to start these quarterly cleanups where we're taking action. We're going out into the world and cleaning up our direct neighborhoods. And so we have a membership coordinator, Natalia, who lives in Ukraine. And so she wanted to do this cleanup, and we were like, heck yeah, we're going to support you. And so we want to show our support by either supporting this fund, or once again, if you know anybody out there that can be a part of the physical in-person event, please share that. And we have also an upcoming book club in July 13th, which happens to be my 42nd birthday, everyone. So make sure you read that book and we could chat about it. Virtual Deals by Brad Field, definitely an amazing book club. It's always a good chat. And don't feel obligated if you haven't listened to the book or read the book. Still join the book club, because you can learn about the book and it can inspire you to maybe read the book or listen to the book. And if you have any ideas and maybe some books that you want to have a book club about, send it to us. We want to know. We haven't read all the books yet, so we want to hear from you. Next slide. So we definitely have our merch store. If someone can drop the merch store link in the chat. We always want to see you. If you have any merch, take a picture of it with us and tag us on Instagram. Whether it's your hat or your swag or your cup, we want to see you wherever you're at in the world. WCS goes everywhere, so we want to see you. And so with that being said, I want to say thank you to all of our volunteers. We definitely had a big volunteer group to make this event happen. It's not just one person that makes this happen. It's a volunteer. We're all volunteers at WCS, except for just a few members of our paid staff. So first of all, I just want to make sure that I give kudos to Anna, Christian, Nicole, Jean, Anandi, Joey, Stephanie, Kirpa, Oakley, Yasmin, Shivani, Tamari, and Michelle. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate all the time, effort that you give to us, and it definitely does not go unnoticed. Now, we got a couple more minutes left, and I'm gonna see if we're ready for the announcements. But I do want to thank all of our prize pool sponsors. So Technical Communications is offering up an hour of PR and marketing consulting and an interview on Lisa Ann's Earthling podcast. That's awesome. The Cleantech Group, one free registration to the Cleantech Forum North America and potential speaking slot on either a panel or a briefing innovation showcase. The Cleantech Group is an amazing partnership and with WCS, and we've had several of our members pitch at this Cleantech event, and so this is something that could open up a lot of more opportunities for you. Liz Beth, 1 hour coaching and advisory session, plug and play, local Bay Area space. 1 hour consultation with Wade, founder and energy of sustainable sector at Plug and Play, and also an opportunity to pitch again at Plug and Play's annual expo. So our goal for all the winners is to be able to continue to elevate them and give them more access. And last but not least, we want to be able to gift all of our pitchers today a free virtual WCS membership for a year. It is our gift to you to continue to network and build and to get to know some of the amazing people within our community. And the way that we want to do that is by giving you a membership, and so you can show up and hang out with us. So with that being said, let me tap in with Anandi and Anna. Are we ready for the announcements? Are they back in the room?
Let me check, Sarah, just a second.
I should have a drum roll. Thank you, Natalia. Natalia's in our meeting today, and please make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Definitely have already chatted with some of you today, and I'm anxiously awaiting to have them come back into the room here. If you haven't already connected with us on LinkedIn, we do share a lot of our upcoming events on our LinkedIn page and on our social media. So if you're one of those individuals that, spends time scrolling, please make sure you connect with us on these platforms. And also, if you're not also signed up to our newsletter, please sign up to our newsletter, because we do have individual curated newsletters for particular chapters. And so we want to make sure that we get you the right information. Joey, what's the verdict? Yes, the pitch is being recorded, and we will share. Everyone that has signed up to the event will get the recording in about a day or two, along with the chat. So if you happen to step out while you're going to the bathroom or whatever the case may be, just note that we will send you the recording. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And once again, I know we're kind of getting close to time here. We try to keep everybody on time with their pitches, so just bear with us here. I see Anandi's back. All right. Is Anna back?
Yes, she should be. She will be announcing the winners shortly. So we do have a decision.
Anna? Are you there?
I am here, and we do
Okay.
have some winners.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Okay, well, I'm going to hand you the mic, and I can't wait to see who won this year.
All right. Did we go through the entrepreneurship committee, or do I need to do that?
Yeah, I did that already.
All right. All right. So let's hop into the winners then. So first up, I have People's Choice Award. So this is the one that you all voted for. So the People's Choice Award is Fatima El Rashid with Shady Club. Congratulations.
Yay!
Just so that everybody knows, Zoom actually filters out clapping as as white noise and background noise, so no one can hear the clapping.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you all. All right. Next up is runner up. So this is the second highest scoring pitch of them all. The runner up of the 2023 WCS pitch competition is Roya Agigi with Light One. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. And then first place, the highest scoring pitch amongst the judges, and the winner of the 2023 WCS pitch competition and recipient of the prize pool is Erika Boeing with Accelerate Wind. Congratulations.
Wow, thank you so much.
Congratulations to all of our 2023 winners, and join me in thanking all of our lovely pitchers today for participating and sharing with us your amazing work in clean tech and sustainability. And thank you again one more time to our sponsors, Momentum, Sea Change Advisors, and JICEA for helping us continue this tradition. And thank you all for joining today.